Eric Deters, the Bulldog, on Class X Radio. Got a Snickers in my mouth.
Imagine that. Coming hungry, huh?
I'm always hungry. I'm hungry for life.
Well, you ever sleepy? Did you sleep last night?
Let me tell you what I did last night.
Okay.
I went home at about 5:10. That's when I got home. From 5:10 to 6:10, I laid on a massage table in the basement where Kim Guffey, the greatest massage therapist in the history of the world, compressed all the uptight, tense muscles in my back and legs for about an hour.
Let me get this straight. You have your own massage table and massage therapist in your basement?
No, she's only there when she comes to do it. She doesn't live in the basement.
Are you sure?
So then I went upstairs and I had a wonderful meal that my wife had cooked of homemade chicken noodle soup with real big noodles. Those big old square noodles. And then that was the kind that Smoky Bones used to use until they stopped making their chicken noodle soup the right way. So then after that, I said, I'm going to build a fire. So I built a fire in the fireplace. Then after that, I said, I am tired. I am going to sleep. So I fell asleep at about 7 o'clock, and I woke up at 11 p.m. So I slept for 4 hours. Then I worked from 11 p.m. until 3:45 a.m.
You're crazy.
Actually, 4
Are
a.m.
you kidding?
So, no. And then I slept for an hour, and now I'm here.
Oh, my gosh.
The irregular life of yours truly, the Bulldog. So did you guys survive okay? I listened for just 30 seconds, and I had to turn it off.
Because we
teasing.
were so
I'm
terrible.
teasing. I actually listened to you all the way there.
I figured
It felt like I was listening to dueling talk show hosts. Like, I could tell you wanted to control, and Garrett wasn't going to let you have control, and you weren't going to let him have control.
Denise
took
was on a
turns.
power trip.
We took turns. I wasn't on a power trip.
Once we got into
I have to
sports,
admit,
we phased Denise out.
The worst part about it, to be honest with you, is Garrett's stories. You keep waiting for that punchline.
And it never happens?
The punchline, and it never just
happens.
never gets there.
Yeah, they had the sports.
Oh, bad storyteller, huh?
He's asking us about diamonds, like we know anything about.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, come on, you should.
Why?
Because you have wives, you should know a little bit.
If you're tuning in and you're rich and handsome and nice, Denise would like you to buy her a big old diamond, and if you do, she'll do anything you'd ask her to do.
Really? I'm surprised about that. I'd be happy with a truckload of firewood right now.
Don't you like that, the way we speak for you?
I hear you. You're looking out for me. What can I say? That's okay, because we have some people calling in for Garrett today.
Really?
Uh-huh, we do.
Who's that?
It doesn't matter who it is, does it?
Oh, it doesn't matter?
No,
Okay.
it doesn't.
I'll rip on them.
In 1777, the Articles of Confederation were adopted by the Continental Congress. And what is significant about this, of course, is this was our first stab at a government, and we fixed it in 1787 because it didn't work out. Do we have the official song of the convention of the Articles of Confederation ready? I emailed and texted Jake to have it ready. It's called the Articles of Confederation March.
Is it a song?
And he doesn't have it. He doesn't have it.
Can you sing it for us?
What a slacker!
Maybe you should
It's
sing
called
it.
the Articles of Confederation March.
Don't you? I think he should sing it for us.
Sounds like an interesting
Here's
tune.
what it is.
Go ahead.
The Articles of Confederation is what the colonies need.
Okay, so we don't
will try.
need
That's a kind
Yeah,
of.
so we
Jake,
don't
get
need
that
it.
song immediately.
Kill it.
In 1939, America took a right-hand turn off a cliff. Social Security Administration approved the first unemployment check. Wow.
That was when it started, huh?
1956. I came up with a song, but then it's not a song. I decided to do a film. So I did a film. It's called Lemon Tender, premiered in New York City, 1956 this day. Thank you very much. Thank you, Elvis. The first Jackson 5 record to enter the top 100, I Want You Back, was in 1969. By the way, I interrupt the regular scheduled program here to ask you guys a question.
Okay.
Please.
I want, well, you're not married. Denise is the only one that could relate to this, and maybe Zim too.
Maybe Zim.
Is there absolutely nothing more awesome and more frustrating that when a man or a woman, a couple, goes to bed, or like one goes already asleep and then the other one comes or whatever the case.
And they wake you up?
No. And you lie down next to your mate, okay? Mm-hmm. And one wants to do something and the other one doesn't. That's frustrating, especially when they feel and smell so good. That happened to me at 3:45 this morning. My wife's leg felt good. She smelled good, but she was sound asleep.
Oh, okay. I
Did that
thought
ever
maybe it was
happen?
the other way around and she just took a bat and hit you over the head and
My
said...
God, I hope she's not listening.
But she said, leave me alone and hit you in the head.
No, she didn't say anything, but I'm just sitting there thinking, this really stinks.
If you kept the normal hours,
Do you think?
and maybe
By the way, she's always played that one. She's always said, if you go to bed the same... Yeah, all right. Okay, I'll go to bed the same time every night. Because I get up early.
Well, I was going to say, maybe if you went to bed when she went to bed,
It's time to move on.
there might be a little bit more that could happen in that time.
1969,
Is I the only one that can answer that?
Wendy's Hamburgers opened. Do you all know that I am a franchisee of Wendy's?
I thought it was...
Now,
tomato.
now, for full disclosure, my dad owns 80%, and I only got 20%. But I do own 20% of 5 Wendy's, which means I own, combined, 1 whole Wendy's.
There you go. 20% of 5 Wendy's. Yeah.
that makes sense because 5 times 20 is 100. Can we eat free at your restaurant?
No,
No, we only get 20%.
I even got to pay for Wendy's. I do get free pizza.
Well, good. Have some delivered.
Yeah.
Don't
No,
you
it sounds
happy?
breakfast. We need breakfast right
I'm
now.
gonna go in and tell them I'm the dog's underboss.
People say
You're just the captain. The captain's good
Yeah,
enough.
but I'm going to tell him I'm the underboss
Okay.
so that I
Can
can
you
have
eat?
more.
Well, yeah, really, all you have to do is say your chaka. No.
All right. Moving on. 1990.
Pizzas.
Producers confirmed that Milli Vanilli didn't sing on their album. I mean, that's messed up. How do you do an album without singing on it? 1993. Joey Buttafuoco was sentenced to 6 months for statutory rape of Amy Fisher.
Was she the one that shot the woman in the face? Is that the one I'm
Yes.
thinking of? Okay.
Yes. She shot
His wife.
his wife in the face.
But he served
What a
time.
piece of work, man. Joey Buttafuoco.
Yeah, well, both of them.
Today's famous birthdays. Sam Waterston. He's that A&E guy. Law and Order. Good actor. Ed Asner. Mr. Grant. You know what? It's a shame that we got a 21-year-old producer that doesn't even know who Ed Asner is. It would have been pretty nice to have a Lou Grant. Denise, actually, I'm going to blame you, Miss Executive Producer.
Yeah.
You need to be going over these with him and telling him. I mean, all you got, here I go, I'm in a bad mood. How does nobody on
you know
my
what?
team
I
look
even
at
thought
Ed
about
Asner and don't have a Mary Tyler Moore clip going, Lou!
I guess because it didn't.
C.W. McCall, 84. You know what?
Convoy.
Find Convoy in there, music thing. C.W. McCall, the song's called Convoy. See if you can find it in there. Judge Joseph Wapner's 93. Randy Savage. We don't have Macho Man clip. Randy
You know
Savage.
what? That wouldn't even register in my head.
Okay.
But that's who that was.
My God, I got to get somebody that knows what the heck they're doing.
You need somebody that remembers all the old
You're all
music.
fired. Give me some people that know what the hell they're doing.
All right.
Today's also America Recycles Day and Pack Your Mom Lunch Day. They like that. Did you find C.W. McCoy?
I did not. We don't have it.
Unbelievable. The Bill Spry collection is just inadequate.
Lackluster.
Today's mostly sunny, high of 51. Friday, partly cloudy, high of 54. Saturday, sunny, high of 56. Bottom line, looks like we got 3 good days. The feel-good song of the day on Facebook is one of my top 10 songs of all time, Sweet Fox on the Run. You got to like Fox on the Run. You know what I mean?
Great tune.
By the way, the average married woman in the 17th century America gave birth to 13 children.
Oh.
What?
Oh, my God.
The average woman?
The average married woman
Okay,
in the
well, that was an average.
1600s
That was average.
in America gave birth to 13 children.
Think about it.
My
That's the average.
God.
Then some had 7 and some had 20. And
You ready for
and
this?
average.
Franklin Pierce, the president, 19.
With one woman?
No, with a whole bunch of them.
Okay, thank God. That I could see. The idea of one
I
woman.
take that back. Not Franklin Pierce. I think it was Tyler. Tyler.
The idea of one woman pushing all those things out, that would be totally different. He didn't care.
Yeah, I don't know. Do you have a quick traffic report to say there's nothing going on?
Well, how do you know I'm going to say there's nothing going on?
Okay.
There's nothing going on.
All right.
It says no
And
incidents.
before we call for Night Ranger Sister Christian, one final little fun fact. The head of the adult sperm whale represents a quarter of the animal's length and a third of its total weight. The things that I could comment on if this was satellite radio.
Okay.
Class X Radio, more Radio Superbity when we come back. Eric Deters, the Bulldog on Class X Radio. I didn't know. I can't hear anything. All right, can you do a traffic report? There you go.
There's an accident on Reading, and that is just right at the Norwood Lateral. So at that intersection, it can slow you down if you're getting on the lateral to go to 75. This morning, westbound 275 right at Springfield Pike or Route 4. So watch for that if you're in that direction. The rest of the traffic pretty slow there. Actually, that's a broken down car, I'm sorry, sitting off on the ramp there from westbound 275. So just the one accident. That's not too bad.
That's not too bad, just having one accident.
Not too bad.
You know, one accident, well, we can live.
Yeah, two would be really bad. That's all.
Don't want to have two. Let's go to pop culture. Rest in peace. Cleve Duncan, the lead singer for the Penguins, who scored the 1954 doo-wop ballad, Earth Angel, died November 7th in Los Angeles, age of 78. You think Earth Angel might have been available, Jake, right now? I'll tell you, I'm going to publicly humiliate my producers till they get on the ball.
Okay, we'll do it.
Dave Letterman's talking about a strike at Hostess Brand, said it is what it is. The Twinkies, the Ho-Hos, and the Ding Dongs, also known as the Kardashians. That's funny.
I was going to say, at least he didn't say us.
That's
Twinkies,
funny.
Ho-Hos, and Ding Dongs.
George Washington on NBC. The network has put into production George Washington, a drama series that will tell the story of Washington's life. That's a life worth telling. And, of course, I've read many biographies and documentaries of George Washington, and I'm an expert on George Washington. Glenn Beck thinks he is, but he's not. I am. So that's worth doing. Rolling Stone magazine reports Stevie Wonder will join Ryan Seacrest in saluting Dick Clark during the 40th American Music Awards Sunday night. Wait a minute. Is Ryan Seacrest going to play Dick Clark? Surely Stevie Wonder's not going to play Dick Clark.
I don't know.
Right.
Maybe Stevie doesn't know that he looks a little different.
A screening of the Lincoln film is going to be held at the White House today. Steven Spielberg, Tommy Lee Jones, Daniel Day-Lewis, and Sally Field are going to attend. Isn't that's what you get when you're president? I'm going to see that movie very soon. I can't wait. There's so many people I want to see it with, though. I'd like to see it with my buddy Randy, the preacher. I'd like to see it with my daughter, the history buff. I always like seeing movies with my wife. Cher joined a petition of more than 560,000 people that want Macy's to stop selling Donald Trump clothing and cologne lines. Oh, God.
Why?
Hey, Cher,
What
go back
difference
in your
does it
hole.
make?
I know. And by the way, Macy's has turned it around, and a lot of the reasons why they think they turned it around were all these celebrity deals they made. Martha Stewart, Donald Trump, the Bulldog apparel. It's working good for them. Hulk Hogan. A judge has denied Hogan's request to force Gawker to remove his explicit tape from the internet. Denise, do you want to see Hulk Hogan doing the horizontal bop?
God, no.
I watched it.
No,
Oh,
you
God, that's
didn't.
Disgusting.
Yeah, I watched it.
Disgusting.
Is that why you look so upset?
It's all right.
Seriously?
I watched it a couple months ago when it came out.
Why would you want to watch it? Why would you want to watch it of all people?
I'm going on.
I don't know.
The 19-year-old daughter of John Bon Jovi, Stephanie Rose, allegedly overdosed on heroin and was arrested yesterday morning at her college.
Atta girl.
That's sad, man. That's sad.
She overdosed and then they arrested
The
her.
owner of the Moonlight Bunny Ranch says he employs a secret shopper program to make sure his employees are executing their duties correctly. That's pretty cool. And you know Willie has been given an invitation to go out there.
I did hear
Willie
that
at the
when
Bunny
they
Ranch.
had one of them on.
Yeah.
What's the smile on your face?
By the
like?
way, this is fun. You're,
It's just
hey,
funny.
you're gonna love this. Paulie sends me a text and says, "Hey, can one of your clients in the Carrollton bus crash want to be on?" I said, "Yeah, sure, I'll try to get them on." And I did. Apparently, they were on yesterday. I didn't hear, or they taped it, or whatever. And I said, "You know, it's so stupid." I said, "It's so dumb that I just can't go on." Mason goes, "Yeah, I know. You know, come on, it's so stupid. You know, I'm blackballed."
Yeah.
My
interview you.
radio station could care less.
Can we
But
interview
they're
you?
still freaking uptight about it.
Well, we could interview you as the attorney, couldn't
Absolutely.
we? I mean, so.
And I'm
you
going to
could-
give you an update on my legal goings yesterday. Yesterday was a big day at practicing law, and these stories people are going to enjoy, so I'll tell them. But meanwhile, we got a guy right here, Jake, the producer, who doesn't find Lou Grant or Earth Angel or anything else I need, but he's got posters.
He's got a special present for me. This is like Christmas.
This is going to be the revelation
presentation here.
Oh, this is the best presentation.
Ladies and gentlemen, the American Jury, on video, we're going to have the. Is this the Matthew McConaughey? This is the Matthew McConaughey poster presentation.
Yeah, we're ready. Go.
Oh,
yes!
Yes, we got him. We've got the Matthew McConaughey. Wow,
That
that's sexy. Oh, wow.
I wouldn't even cover
Oh,
Ferris'
my God.
chest.
He didn't look like that in Magic
man.
Mike.
He looks good.
Daggone it, you
He
guys.
looks good.
That was
Ladies
good.
and gentlemen, the American Jury.
That was really good.
The poster.
It'll be hanging up here.
We got it. Matthew McConaughey's going to be hanging up so Denise can watch it while she does her show.
You guys suck. What is it? It's just 4x6 photo.
We're going to let you in
Dear
our
God.
joke. It's a 5'6" poster, 5'6" poster of Matthew McConaughey's
It's a photo.
senior high school picture.
It's not even as big as my hand.
Hey, it's a nice picture of the guy.
You be grateful.
Stop acting kind of slutty and wanting to see a
Snotty.
nude picture of him.
I don't want a nude picture.
I mean,
I
we
want
got
the one.
Farrah in a swimsuit.
Right,
She's
and
not
I'll
naked.
be perfectly
Put that in your
happy with
wallet.
him in a white shirt. That the white shirt. He's in a white shirt and he's leaning back and it's all.
They were out
I'm
of that
holding it
one.
still. There you go. Zim said, "Hold it still." How can I hold it still? I'm pissed off that this is all I got in this daggone place. I gotta look at Farrah's.
Hey, members of
Chest
Bulldog
up there.
Nation are texting me, including Ryan and others, and they're saying that they're sick to their stomachs.
They're sick to their stomachs that what I have Matthew McConaughey's in my hand.
It's a great picture of him.
Daggone it.
Did you see the movie Magic Mike? Denise,
I had to put it. No, I didn't.
Oh,
I don't
my
have anybody
goodness.
to take me to movies. I
I
don't
can't
go.
believe you haven't gone to see the movie Magic Mike.
No.
You want to see Matthew
Such a
McConaughey, you can see
fan.
plenty of him right there.
You know what? After getting this, I'm sending him an email, and he's coming in person to help me find a better poster to hang up somewhere. Maybe he'll
Let me know
help
how
me
that goes
find
for you. Just
somewhere else
tracking
that
him
I
down.
can take him
Sure, he'll
to.
want to come right on in.
All right.
What are your friends sick about?
When we come back about having the idea of Matthew McConaughey poster, but I think they thought we were going to have a poster of him looking hot, but we don't. Guys, it's only a 5'6" picture of his
5'6"
senior
I
yearbook.
would be happy with. This isn't 5'6".
Excuse me, 5 inches.
That'd
by
be
6
taller
inches.
than me, and I would take the life-size poster.
All right.
Pocket size.
This is one of what they call deep track from AC/DC. So Bulldog Nation member Ryan will feel better. This is Jailbreak on Class X Radio. This is the Bulldog on Class X Radio. If you're just tuning in for the first time listening to us, we're on from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. And what we do is we start out with some fun stuff, and then we go into pop culture, local news, and sports. And we save the politics and everything else for the last hour and a half of the show because, we have to get you woken up. And you can listen to us every day on 88.9 FM and 89.0 FM and also ClassXRadio.com. Also, there's an app, and also you can listen to ClassXRadio.com. I already said the app, but also live tune-in radio. And also, we do a video cast.
Yeah, they
a
can
live
watch
video
you.
cast. You can watch us. All right.
You could have
Marion
watched
County.
the unveiling of this stupid little photo.
And we love that photo. A Marion County deputy sheriff was shot. This is kind of tough.
Observed a car stopped in the roadway. He called in the plate and sometime later announced that shots had been fired. When help got to him, he was taken to Springview Hospital where he later died as a result of his injuries.
All right. Sad. Cake boss Buddy Valestro is at a local Kroger location today. 10 a.m. Harper's Point Kroger and 1:30 to 3:30 Fort Mitchell Kroger. There you go. Cincinnati City Council, the city manager Milton Dahoney, they had a preliminary vote 6-3 to give him a raise from $234,000 to $255,000 and a bonus of $35,000. Hello, you're broke. $234,000 isn't enough for that guy? Hell in a handbasket. Not only the country, the city too. 21-year-old Philip Cash was indicted on 2 counts of felonious assault and 4 counts of child endangerment for a November 7th incident in which he shook his child and caused brain damage, including bleeding on the brain. Sad stuff. Yesterday in Boone County, I represented several individuals, one including David Dooley, who Judge J.R. Schran did not want the deputies to do anything special to give him access, but he did not object to an interview. So David Dooley, my client, who's accused of the murder of Michelle Mockbee, sat down one-on-one with every television station, 5, 9, 12, and 19, and gave an interview with them. And he was asked a lot of the same questions by each one, including, did you kill Michelle Mockbee? And he answered no. He broke down during him, too. I'm telling you right now, this guy's innocent. And it's a shame that he's being charged, and you know what? We'll see. St. Elizabeth Healthcare System has announced it has joined the Mayo Clinic Care Network and will be the exclusive Mayo Care Network member in our area. That's a pretty big deal. What else do we have local that's worth reporting? A city-hired consultant for Hamilton County has recommended in a 113-page report that the department cut over a dozen positions and close 2 stations to save money. The chief is looking at other options. Kentucky Governor Steve Beshear will be in Kenton County today for the groundbreaking on the $42 million expansion of El Oriel on New Buffington Road. He's asked for a private meeting with the Bulldog, and I think I might be able to squeeze him in. I don't know yet. What else do we have? John Cranley, a Democrat, has announced he will run for mayor of Cincinnati in 2013. Oh, well. So that's all the things that are worth reporting locally.
Were they?
Yep. Do you have a traffic report?
Well, we can give you one. I'm actually busy taking pictures to post on Facebook so people can see all of our fun little posters that we have in here. But we still are dealing with the accident on Reading at the Norwood Lateral.
I'll go ahead. I'll let you do your traffic report.
I just did. Reading at the Norwood Lateral accident. Watch for that.
In addition to the senior high school yearbook photo of Matthew McConaughey and our collection of icons here in the studio, we have added Bruce Lee, the Rat Pack, the chairman of the board and his gang, Elvis
isn't so bad.
Tombstone movie poster, John Wayne, and I tell you right now, those are icons. Now, I want to read to you the Bruce Lee poster. Now, my son has this in his room. And in addition to this, I've read his book, Jeet Kune Do. Jeet Kune Do, what Bruce Lee did is he took all the different martial arts and he kind of made it free-flowing so it didn't look, you didn't have to force stuff. It felt natural to the body. And everybody knows that he was the baddest ass that's ever lived. And I love his philosophy. And here is what his philosophy is. Empty your mind. Be formless, shapeless, like water. If you put water into a cup, it becomes the cup. You put water into a bottle, it becomes the bottle. You put it in a teapot, it becomes the teapot. Now water can flow or it can crash. Be water, my friend. It's good stuff. Garrett,
what does that mean?
I could tell that really did. You don't even get it, do you?
Doesn't mean anything
Garrett,
to me.
Have you ever had a philosophy course?
Bruce Lee is stupid.
Bruce, what that means is water is free flowing, okay? And it can be all things. It can be
I knew that.
It can be ice and it can be a hammer. Pow.
I didn't need that poster to tell me that water is free flowing.
Hey, Garrett, get your act together because I'm water. All right? Just want you to know you're water.
Your water or the bottle?
I'm water.
Okay.
All right.
I thought you were fire.
All right, let's go to sports now. The 18-year-old freshman Texas A&M receiver Thomas Johnson is missing.
How about that?
That's weird. Scary stuff. NBA, the Clippers beat Miami. Chicago beat Phoenix in overtime. Dallas beat Washington. How about the Lakers, man? They didn't pick. How do they not pick the guy to come back? Phil Jackson. Crazy.
Yeah.
San Diego State 65, Northern Kentucky 61. We have forgotten. This is NKU Division I this year.
That's right.
Division I this year.
They're in the big time.
Gotta like that. Number 10 Florida beat Wisconsin 74-56. And in football, Ball State beat Ohio 52-27. That was worth reporting. A.J. Green is the leading vote getter among wide receivers with 258,405 votes. He is 6th overall. I think A.J. Green has kind of made a statement.
Yeah, people are taking notice. He's one of the best in the game.
Unlike Des Bryant, he doesn't drop the ball.
Des has a drops issue.
Magic Johnson slams Lakers executive vice president Jim Buss basically for not hiring Phil Jackson.
I love the Lakers. I love the Laker organization. And to me, they made 2 critical mistakes. First, hiring Mike Brown. He wasn't the right coach. He's a great coach, but not the right coach for the Lakers. And I don't feel Mike D'Antoni is the right coach for the Lakers. Now, especially when you have Phil Jackson sitting out there who wanted to be the Laker coach. And Jim Buss decided he didn't want Phil Jackson. He wanted Mike D'Antoni. And that's okay. Why didn't you just say that? But the fans were cheering for Phil Jackson 2 nights in a row.
And then led to believe
that's right.
that Phil was in the driver's seat and it was his call.
Yes, no question about it.
All right. Wrapping up sports real quick. R.A. Dickey, the New York Met knuckleballer, became the first knuckleballer to win the Cy Young Award. American League David Price beat out Justin Verlander. In sports tonight, we have Miami at Buffalo at 8:20. And the NCAA, North Carolina at Virginia at 7:30. NHL, no talks are going on. And tonight in basketball, we have Tulsa at Northern Kentucky at 7:30. 7 p.m., Sam Houston State plays Indiana. 7 o'clock, Samford at number 2, Louisville. 5 p.m., 6, North Carolina State versus Penn State. And the UK Wildcats, of course, are not playing today because they're going to win the national championship again. Psh. Now for your listening pleasure, we got Elton John, Island Girl. A great Elton John song on Class X Radio from the Sprite Collection. You better give a traffic report because I'm going to get rolling.
Okay. Well, hold on one second. I got to click off this man's really hot chest. Where's my traffic? Oops. Lost it.
We're just going to go hell with a traffic report. We got
My
FEMA.
God.
We're going to jack wagon up FEMA. They sold hundreds of emergency trailers that had only been used once. In the months before Sandy, now they have to spend taxpayer money to buy new trailers to house victims of the storm. Jack Wagon, you are. Christy Parsons, the Chicago Tribune reporter, went into a fan mode during Obama's press conference, congratulating the president on the re-election. Listen to this. You got that?
Yeah.
You know how to find it? All right, Jill Kelly, the license plates on her Mercedes read, you ready for this? Honorary consul. Jill Kelly. Jack Wagon up, Jill Kelly. Obama, he said, I hope and intend to be an even better president in the second term than I was in the first. You sucked in the first, Mr. President. So we hope you do better, but everybody knows that the second term is a joke.
There are people all across this country, millions of folks who worked so hard to help us get elected, but there are also millions of people who may not have voted for us, but are also counting on
49%.
us. And we take that responsibility very seriously. I take that responsibility very seriously.
Enough. Turn him off.
I hope and intend to be.
In Pinellas Park, Florida, an officer tased a man for trying to spray water on his roof to stop a fire from spreading to his house. The officer tased him in the back without warning him.
What?
You jackwagon?
I ought to get all over that. You know, I do have a Florida license.
Hold on. I want to hear this thing about the starstruck reporter. This is...
Christy Parson. Hey.
Thank you, Mr. President, and congratulations, by the way. One quick follow-up.
Was there when I was running for state senate.
That's right, I was.
Christy and I go back a ways.
I've never seen you lose. I wasn't looking that one time.
There you go.
One quick follow-up, and then I want to ask you about it.
Unbelievable.
Seriously, was she just flirting with the president?
That's like a golden rule of report. Like, you don't...
It's
like asking for an autograph.
Yep. We got to give an oracle to Andy Dalton, his 4-touchdown performance, and the Giants earned him the AFC Offensive Player of the Week.
Can I veto this?
No.
You've been awarded oracle status.
They got lucky one game.
No, they didn't get lucky one game. They're they're hitting their stride playing that tough competition.
Yeah.
Tough competition. That's
I bet you they lose to the Chiefs this week.
Do you think?
I don't know. Chiefs are pretty bad.
I don't know.
According to a report released quietly on the internet, The world stopped getting warmer almost 16 years ago. The data reveals that from the beginning of 1977 until August 2012, there's been no discernible rise in aggregate global temperatures.
How can they tell from 16 years? The Earth's been around how many billions of years?
I have no idea.
And they're gauging the last 16 that it's not getting warmer?
I don't know.
I don't know,
it's
cyclical.
It's just so frustrating. I mean,
it frustrates me. These are the things.
The Pentagon allegedly objected to aides of Petraeus releasing their own timeline of events in Libya, which would have countered other timelines. Petraeus wanted to defend the agency but was ousted. Great story in the Wall Street Journal about this today, about how he wanted to do. And you know what? I just want to say this about good old. You got that clip there? All right.
And Congress was getting kind of mixed signals, too. Adam Entos, our national security correspondent in Washington, has kind of written on this extensively. These discussions that are going to occur when Petraeus appears before the Intelligence Committee are going to deal with this full scope of things. And in addition to who knew what when and how was it communicated to Washington, and then which part of Washington knew what when, the White House, the CIA, the FBI, differently apparently. There'll be discussions of how was security handled in Benghazi. There was a large security contingent with the CIA group there. There was a sort of informal relationship with the consulate. The consulate relied on that security team that was part of the CIA. Was that sufficient to assure security for the consulate? Can you call in somebody from another agency to provide you security if you need it suddenly, and can you do so efficiently? All these things are going to be discussed.
Later in the program, I am going to publicly ask some questions about this as the hearings begin today. Now, you all know that FBI agent, Frederick W. Humphreys II. This was the guy that kind of fell for old Jill Kelly and sent her pictures of his shirtless self. A former coworker says of the agent, Fred is a passionate kind of guy. Yeah. He's kind of an obsessive type. Yeah. And this is where it's disgusting. If he locked his teeth into something, he'd be a bulldog. How dare they reference him
Do they not
as
know
a
that
bulldog?
they're not allowed to do that? You better be straightening them out.
And yesterday, John McCain and company, they decided that they weren't going to take it anymore. So a senator from New Hampshire and McCain and Lindsey Graham, they had a press conference in the morning. And they're calling for what's called a select committee to conduct an investigation in the Libyan attack a la Watergate, Iran-Contra, because they don't trust the Obama administration. And they also announced, you know what, old Susan Rice, the UN ambassador, she ain't going anywhere. They're going to block her. But this is the McCain going off on a reporter.
Well, I say with great respect, that's one of the dumbest questions I've ever heard. Okay? There's four dead Americans. There's 4 dead Americans. Not a socialite. Not a socialite. I'm answering your question. Okay? Do you want me to answer your question?
I don't like McCain, but he's right on this
Which
one.
do you want?
Who's more important, the 4 dead Americans
dead
or Jill?
Americans.
Honorary
The
consul.
lives of other Americans were put in jeopardy. This is a matter of 4 dead Americans. I think that the other issue raised is very serious, and I think it deserves a thorough and complete investigation. But it does not rise.
I agree with John McCain.
With all due respect, that's the dumbest question ever.
And Harry Reid, of course, says he's not going to support a committee to investigate the Libyan attack for obvious reasons. You know what's so sick? America had a chance last Tuesday to change a course for this country. And instead, we are right where we are from 2010 going forward. Thank God the Republicans have the House. And I can't wait to report to you what the Wall Street Journal focused on yesterday relative to the budget. I mean, it's insane. I'm going to comment about Petraeus. You know, he's volunteered to testify before the Senate and House committees behind closed doors Friday morning, and he's willing and interested to do it. And I've came up with a theory, and here's what I think's happened. Petraeus thought that, you know, he did not like the way the CIA was being portrayed, and he wanted to defend the CIA, but that would hurt the president. So Clapper, the national intelligence guy, clamped down on him, and his resistance led to his firing, okay? Petraeus is in a complete turmoil with the scandal and everything else. However, and I'm not a big Petraeus fan, however, Petraeus wants to project himself and has always wanted to project himself as a man of honor and duty and so forth and so on. I think Petraeus is seizing the opportunity by voluntarily, and see, they can't stop him. You know what? They've already fired the guy. So Obama and them can't. So he's got willing people. Just think about it. The Senate's going to say, hey, the Senate and House say, come on over here. And he's like, no problem, because Obama's not his boss anymore. And Petraeus is going to seize the opportunity to redeem himself by telling the truth about what happened in Benghazi. What he knows about his own agency, the defense, and state. That's what's going on here, and that's why he's going to do it. Pretty cool, isn't it? All right. Ladies and gentlemen, the American jury, for your listening pleasure, this is a great feel-good song from the Spry collection, although it's one of my favorites, too. I actually saw them in concert at Bogart's. I did, Bogart's. On Valentine's Day.
Wow.
Romantics, What I Like About You on Class X Radio. Eric Deters, the Bulldog on Class X Radio. You know, I have this vision of Petraeus going on a jog with Paula Broadwell in Afghanistan, and they're going to go on like a 5-mile jog, and they're gone for 3 hours. Yeah, they stop and find an oasis. And then I understand.
That's about how long it would take me to jog 5 miles.
And here's a virtual.
I don't think he's thinking they're jogging.
Here's a virtual conversation that Bill Clinton had with one of his old buddies over at the Department of State, not Department of State, the Department of Defense. Hey, I see that Paula Broadwell is kind of a player. she needs some help. Could you introduce me?
We should have.
That dang Bill Clinton, man. He's always looking for opportunities.
He's a hound
Bill.
dog.
Trying to sit him back over here in his spot.
National security officials said yesterday that Paula Broadwell's computer held classified information that should have been better protected. Hello. In talks at different conferences and institutes, Broadwell has said of Petraeus, he was a very close mentor and they had a special relationship. That Petraeus was quite a physical specimen. Oh, my God.
Seriously?
Said her access to Petraeus had classified information, created a clear line she couldn't cross as a journalist. By the way, finally, the U.S. Army suspended Paula Broadwell's security clearance yesterday. Took them that long. And also, Jill Kelly lost her Air Force Base Pass.
Good.
And the Navy, I mean that is hilarious about that. I mean, she's just ugh. Mitt Romney weighed in, and we got a bit of this. But Romney said that the president's campaign focused on giving targeted groups a big gift. He made a big effort on small things.
Conference call, as you noted, just wrapped up a matter of hours ago. Governor Romney blamed this defeat on what he described as big gifts. That was his word, that the president had given to some of the Democrats' most loyal voting blocs, among them African Americans, young voters, and Hispanics. As reported by the New York Times, Mr. Romney said the president followed what he called the old playbook, wooing specific interest groups. And here are some of the quotes. With regards to the young people, for instance, he said a forgiveness of college loan interest was a big gift. He added free contraceptives were very big with young college-aged women. And then finally, Obamacare, he said, also made a difference for them. Likewise, with Hispanic voters, he said free health care was a big plus. Brian, sources say that Governor Romney is scheduled to meet with some of his top advisors tomorrow night. One thing is for sure, though, in terms of his future.
One of the things about Mitt Romney saying all that is it's true. Barack Obama would not have won Ohio but for him using our money and giving it to the unions and GM. And he won Northwest Ohio big as a result of that. Using our money. It's the truth. It's the truth. Bobby Jindal said of Romney's gifts claim, that is absolutely wrong. I absolutely reject that notion. Well, we reject you, Bobby Jindal. Bulldog Nation rejects you.
You jackwagon.
I get so angry about, and I'm going to set this up. I want you to hear what Barack Obama said yesterday first. This is Barack Obama going off on Lindsey Graham and John McCain relative to Susan Rice's their attacks on her because they have said that they will block her appointment to Secretary of State any way they can. Susan Rice, of course, being the UN ambassador that came out on all the news talk shows right after the 9/11 attacks at Benghazi, claiming it was all based upon this video. And Susan Rice doesn't know her butt from a hole in the ground. And the bottom line is that this is what Obama, and just wait to listen to what my response is to what Barack Obama did yesterday. Go ahead. Let's listen to Obama.
But let me say specifically about Susan Rice. She has done exemplary work. She has represented the United States and our interests in the United Nations with skill and professionalism and toughness and grace. As I've said before, she made an appearance at the request of the White House in which she gave her best understanding of the intelligence that had been provided to her. If Senator McCain and Senator Graham and others want to go after somebody, they should go after me. And I'm happy to have that discussion with them.
All right. Well, guess what, Mr. President? They are going to go after you. Now, let's break down what he just said, which is pretty remarkable. He says the UN ambassador has nothing to do with Benghazi. Let me see. The UN ambassador doesn't have anything to do with what's going on around the world that is always brought back to the UN. He then said she went out there and spoke at the request of the White House. Okay. And intelligence provided to her. Well, who told her to go out there and who provided what intelligence to her? So was she a stooge? Maybe she was a stooge. But we need to know the answer to that question. But here is something that Barack Obama's been doing lately, and Mitt Romney let him get away with it in the second debate when he said, I resent, Mr. President, or Mr. Romney, that, 4 Americans are dead, and da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And then he just did that yesterday. I resent. I wish when he does that, somebody would say, you know what I resent, Mr. President? I resent what you have failed to do in Libya and Benghazi. I resent that you didn't give them the extra security protection that they asked for. I resent that you didn't keep them safe. I resent that when the British pull out and the American Cross pull out, you didn't pull them out because you weren't paying attention. I resent that when they call, quote unquote, 911 like Ed Henry, you didn't send them the help that they needed. I resent that you sat there in the White House in the Situation Room watching this, and then you go to Vegas the next day. I resent that you don't want to talk publicly with the press because you want to talk directly to the families. Guess what, Mr. President? You know the families don't care for you very much. They blame you. I resent that your attorney general doesn't report to you about the FBI, allegedly. The FBI is investigating your head of intelligence. And let me tell you something, folks. Let me give you an example. Is there anybody in Bulldog Nation or Class X Radio that if Chuck Holbrook, my buddy and the underboss, had important information about something, is there anybody that thinks he wouldn't tell me? Is there anybody? Hell no. Mm-mm. Does anybody think that Eric Holder isn't going to tell the president these type of things? Come on. Who believes that? Nobody believes that. And I got to keep ranting here because I got more to say about it. And there's this. Because of the network news, 5, 9, 12, the newspapers, I don't know how bad does it have to get before they finally want to hold this president accountable. Don't they realize that President Obama and the entire administration knows it doesn't matter what they do, they pay no political price. Lindsey Graham and John McCain are out there yesterday going, it's time for somebody to be held responsible, The American people, the sad thing is the American people don't care. 51% of Americans don't care. Do you think the American citizen who's getting a free ride in inner Philadelphia cares? Hell no. Do you think the American citizen who's getting a free ride in Cincinnati cares? Hell no. This country is losing its entire compass under this president and the media, which is supposed to be the fourth branch of the government. I sat down yesterday with Paula Toti from Channel 12 on a story that's going to air later, and we had a discussion about that, and I said, you know what? Thank God for the media. Just think how bad it would be if the politicians and others didn't have the media watching them. We don't have that with this administration. No matter what the hell they do, no one holds them account. I need a song so I can get a drink of water and take a breath. What do we got?
Let me see if this is the right brick in the wall song, but can you believe they have a Pink Floyd show on this station and possibly don't have The Wall?
I can't believe it. Just play whatever Pink Floyd song's out there. We don't care.
Just
We're going to give you some Floyd on Class X Radio. Eric Deters, the Bulldog on Class X Radio. You know, we waste so much time in this country, and I just want to remind everybody that jack wagons, because they're, you know, Lindsey Graham and Senator McCain are two people who helped get us where we are today in the Senate. They happen to be right on this issue, but the Senate yesterday voted 92-5 to allow 41 polar bear caucuses to be brought into the country. They were killed before a 2008 ban on trophy imports. You know, I'm thinking to myself, boy, that's so darn important. Good God.
They brought in what? Polar bear carcasses?
They're going to allow them coming in. Nancy Pelosi, she's going to hold on to her position in the House. And Luke Russert, who asked a question, and of course this is Tim Russert's son, asked if the criticism that she was keeping younger Democrats from taking over the party, she said, let's for a moment honor it as a legitimate question. And she kind of went off on him.
Some of your colleagues privately say that your decision to stay on prohibits the party from having a younger leadership and will be hurts the party in the long term. What's your response?
And she's standing there with a bunch of Democrats and the one right next to her.
Later policy. Later.
Discrimination in red. Kept going.
I guess.
Discrimination. Discrimination.
Oh, you always ask that question except to Mitch McConnell.
Say the same thing about
Nance.
Good golly. Ugh. We're doomed. Why do you know what? I wish I didn't care, but I can't help caring. I just can't help caring.
A lot of reporters in our news clips today getting yelled at.
John Boehner was reelected to a House Speaker yesterday. That wasn't a shocker, of course. Al Sharpton is refusing to support a recount of votes in the race between Republican Al West and Patrick Murphy. Who cares what he thinks? You know, who cares? Responding to Obama's come after me comment, Senator Graham said, and he put this on Twitter, Mr. President, don't think for 1 minute I don't hold you ultimately responsible for Benghazi. I think you failed as commander-in-chief before, during, and after the attack. That's obvious. But you know what? It doesn't make any difference. Barack Obama, let me see. What can somebody... We could find out that Barack Obama has been going out with the Secret Service at night and robbing banks and doing crack cocaine, and it ain't going to make any difference. Don't make any difference. It's messed up. Charles Krauthammer said, as soon as the election's over, as soon as he can be dispensed with, being Petraeus, the sword drops and he's destroyed. I mean, can you imagine what it's like to be on that pressure and to think it didn't distort or at least some way unconsciously influence his testimony? That's hard to believe. But you see, Petraeus is now free, Krauthammer. Here we go. This is Charles's comments.
I think the really shocking news today was that General Petraeus thought and hoped he could keep his job. He thought that it might and would be kept secret, and then he could stay in his position. I think what that tells us is really important. It meant that he understood that the FBI obviously knew what was going on. He was hoping that those administration officials would not disclose what had happened, and therefore hoping that he would keep his job. And that meant that he understood that his job, his reputation, his legacy, his whole celebrated life was in the hands of the administration, and he expected they would protect him by keeping it quiet. And that brings us to the ultimate issue, and that is his testimony on September 13. That's the thing that connects the two scandals, and that's the only thing that makes the sex scandal relevant. Otherwise, it would be an exercise in sensationalism and voyeurism and nothing else. The reason it's important is here's a man who knows the administration holds his fate in his hands, and he gives testimony completely at variance with what the Secretary of Defense had said the day before, at variance with what he'd heard from his station chief in Tripoli, and with everything that we had heard. Was he influenced by the fact that he knew his fate was held by people in the administration at that time?
I want to tell you something right now. I'm telling you, I think Petraeus no longer being employed by the Obama administration, it's going to get interesting. Of course, Mike Zimmerman says he's worried about his health. Somebody whack him before he testifies. And this kind of relates. This is from the Huffington Post. The Conservative Majority Fund has launched a robocall campaign to support the impeachment of Barack Obama. We suspect that Obama is guilty of high crimes and misdemeanors. Now, I want to share something with everybody about this. This is really interesting, okay? I don't think there's any question whatsoever that Barack Obama and his gang have just been running roughshod over the Constitution, laws, and everything else. If the investigation over the Benghazi events lead to some information that could be considered a high crime and misdemeanor, you know what? They're not going to try to keep him around for 40 years. In other words, unlike last time where they said, well, we'll beat him at the election. The House, folks, which is controlled by the Republicans, initiates the articles of impeachment. Okay? The House is where it goes down. Now, of course, we all know that Clinton, he was impeached by the House, but the Senate saved him. It'll be really interesting what the Republican House would do to good old Barack Obama if we find out that there was some serious stuff going down. And I think we know that there was some serious stuff going down. All right, how about a traffic report, Blondie?
Well, I'm sitting here looking at this. Westbound 275, there's an accident at Ward's Corner, and that has you backed up solid on this camera all the way back to US 50. All three lanes is bumper to bumper. And in that area, you got some heavier fog as well. Also an accident on southbound 71 just south of Lebanon. Southbound 75 around the Ronald Reagan merge. It is on the right shoulder, so it's not blocking any traffic, but that traffic is slowing down from around Lockland. Accident at Grand and Westwood Northern Boulevard at Sutter. So and there's also one with injuries in Beachmont at 125 and Corbley Road. So a couple of problems out there, some slow traffic, like I said, on the interstates, especially where those accidents. 275, this is a couple days in a row they've had some problems out there. So, again, if you're heading northbound towards 71, you're going to run into some issues on 275.
Thank you. This is coming from GOP USA Midday Report, which I get every day. This is just blows my mind. A week before the election, an FBI whistleblower went to a Republican member of Congress with explosive details about a national security scandal that they think could have hurt Obama's re-election. I don't think so. It wouldn't have mattered. But the potentially devastating October surprise, I had a hiccup, was hushed up by the Republicans. Why? What the heck? So oftentimes, these guys in Washington, they can't make up their mind on whether they want to stick out their hand and shake it or pull out a knife and stab them. And I think their judgment calls on these are pretty pathetic. It's like Hillary Clinton. Everybody wants to give her deference, in the Senate, about everything going on. Let me just give you the facts. The Secretary of State is the one who is the head of the consulates, the ambassadors. It's under her purview. And she's in Australia sipping wine instead of testifying at these committees. And they need to drop a subpoena on her. And the reason why she wants to run from it, and Bill has her running from it, is because they don't want to screw up 2016. Of course, it's not going to make any difference because I'm going to be running against Hillary Clinton in 2016, and I'm going to wax her butt. That'd be great to debate Hillary Clinton. God, that would be freaking awesome. And, it just goes on and on and on. The corruption, and nobody's being held accountable because you don't. For example, man, if I did something bad, it's all over the news. I got to be held accountable. Nah, not Barack Obama. All right, if you want to join us every morning from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m., tune in to 88.9 and 89.1 FM. Also, you can watch us streaming live on bulldogsnation.com and classxradio.com. If you got something witty or wise to say, you can call in at 513-201-8891. Coming up at 8 o'clock, we're going to have Rob Hans from the Kentucky Department of Transportation to discuss the Brent Spence Bridge replacement. And Lacey Rocks may call in relative to NASCAR being in the sport with Garrett.
She's got to debate that issue. She was upset. We missed her yesterday.
You didn't hear that segment. Jake and I debated what was a sport. Do you think NASCAR is a sport, dog?
No.
Uh-oh. There she goes. So she's going to be calling in. She's going to be on that.
My team. What about you, Zim? No. Denise?
Now I was going to tell everybody right now, I respect the hell out of those drivers and the physical ability that they have to drive that fast for that long under all that. But I'm telling you.
But what physical ability is it?
It's not a sport. Just plain
Don't
endurance.
have this argument now. Lacey, if you're listening, you better be calling in.
Just plain endurance.
Rocks.
That's what I say. I mean, just plain, flat-out endurance.
It is. It is. You have to. I mean, they're in there for probably 3 hours, just sweat. I mean, just loaded up with gear. It's endurance, but there's no physical ability.
Yeah.
Are we allowed to play Simon and Garfunkel? Simon and Garfunkel's considered classic rock, isn't it?
Is it?
Absolutely. I love Simon and
My
G.
little sister's named Celia.
Yeah.
But everybody always calls her Cecilia. Everybody's called Cecilia, not Celia. Yeah, Simon and Garfunkel. No, they did not name this. This is about having sex with somebody up in a little apartment. No, this is not about my little sister. Class X Radio, Simon and Garfunkel. Eric Deters, the Bulldog on Class X Radio.
Can we get some traffic in here real quick?
Yep, go ahead.
Okay. Just because there's a problem in the Morning View area, that is closed. Kenton Station is closed at Stratfordsburg Road. That was a tongue twister. But anyway, that is due to an accident. So if you're traveling through that area, that could cause some problems getting to school. School buses getting through there. Also an accident with injuries on Beachmont Avenue right at Corbley, so watch for that as well. Some big delays on westbound 275 around Ward's Corner. So if you're heading northbound from right around US 50, you are just sitting on your brakes. Yes, I said sitting on your brakes. It is solid bumper-to-bumper traffic all the way up past the accident, and then it kind of opens up. Southbound 71 right around Ronald Reagan. It's off on the right shoulder. Grand at Westwood Avenue, Westwood Northern Boulevard at Sutter, and just a broken down car that could cause some delays just getting around that at Hands Pike and Edwin Street in Covington. Back to you.
All right. The Wall Street Journal yesterday on the front page story focus in the top right, which is always their focus story, lays out how Petraeus wanted his aides to push back and release their own timeline on September 11th. And the National Security Director, Mr. Clapper, gotta love that name, pushed back. And he actually did release. He says, we did not have – he actually did release a statement before he resigned. But, boy, I tell you right now, what's going to come out is that the CIA itself, the career people, they viewed Petraeus with a little suspicion because he came from the defense as a general, so forth and so on. And officials said that Obama did not try to talk Petraeus out of leaving. And on November 9th, Obama called Petraeus and accepted the resignation. So, it's going to be interesting to see what Petraeus tells the committees. And, of course, you had Broadwell's dad saying that this is going to be about a lot more. But you don't know if that relates to Benghazi or not, and only time will tell. And, of course, she's hired a lawyer. Why she's hired a lawyer? Because she's probably going to do some jail time. I'm telling you right now, she's got, documents that have not been declassified. She's in some soup. There's absolutely no question she's in some soup. by the way, we have to have some fun here. How about Jimmy Fallon as Bill Clinton? Here comes Honey Bubba.
Instead of Honey Boo Boo, huh?
Yeah, this is Honey Bubba.
Fellow Americans, we're here tonight to nominate a president, and I've got one in mind. Of course, I'm talking about me, Bill Clinton, JK. Although, let's face it, if I did want to run again, who would stop me? I'm back, baby. Here comes Honey Boo Boo. No, here comes Honey Bubba.
Good old Honey Bubba.
You got a better Clinton. You got Clinton down a little better than Fallon.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much.
That's Elvis.
I know. Elvis was saying thank you.
Oh.
Let me say this about this administration. And my good buddy Willie was on Hannity last night with some Democratic operative, and Hannity gives Willie, this is so funny, he gives Willie more leeway than any other guest when he has him on these panels. Willie takes over the segment, and Willie's asking the Democrat strategist questions, and Hannity doesn't care. Hannity just lets Willie take over his show. And Willie went on a tirade right out of the bat, basically saying, okay, he starts his second term as president with what? The fiscal cliff looming, Benghazi and the Senate and the House wanting investigations, and the head of his CIA in a sex scandal, his general in Afghanistan in a sex scandal. And these are distractions, and because they involve sex, it's going to be an incredible impossibility to distract the media away from these stories to focus on something that's important. For example, McCain and Lindsey Graham want to focus on Benghazi and not the sex scandal. And it's hard to do. But Wall Street Journal yesterday, incredible. Remember I was talking about the $1 trillion budget deficit every 4 years? I mean, all 4 years of his administration that we've had. And we were like at $2.5 trillion is what we needed to run our government in 2008. Okay? And now we need $3.5 trillion. Guess what? The president is going to seek $1.6 trillion in more revenue in his budget, in his deal. Do you know what, folks? They had a deal for like $500 or $600 billion with Boehner, Reed, and the president came back and said, "No, I want $800 billion," and that's when it fell through. So let me paint this picture for you. The deal that didn't happen last time, okay, the deal that did not happen was $800 billion in more revenue, which Boehner and Reed were going to go along with. He's doubled that. Obama wants $1.6 trillion more in tax increases. I mean, it's insane. He's in la-la land. Does he think that the House is going to go along with that? Doubling the revenue that he wants from tax increases? And folks, let me tell you, the tax increase that he wants on the rich folks, and I hate when he says folks, we got to get these folks some relief. Well, you know what that is? That's about less than $100 billion. Less than $100 billion. But he's full speed ahead. Full speed ahead. He's in la-la land. Along these lines, let's have the number 13 there, Garrett, about Obama talking about can't afford a across-the-board tax cut. I mean, it's incredible. Go ahead.
As I've said before, I'm open to compromise and I'm open to new ideas. And I've been encouraged over the past week to hear Republican after Republican agree on the need for more revenue from the wealthiest Americans as part of our arithmetic if we're going to be serious about reducing the deficit. Because when it comes to taxes, there are two pathways available. Option one, if Congress fails to act by the end of this year, everybody's taxes will automatically go up, including the 98% of Americans who make less than $250,000 a year. and the 97% of small businesses who earn less than $250,000 a year. That doesn't make sense. Our economy can't afford that right now. Certainly no middle-class family can afford that right now. And nobody in either party says that they want it to happen. The other option is to pass a law right now that would prevent any tax hike whatsoever on the first $250,000 of everybody's income. And by the way, that means every American, including the wealthiest Americans, get a tax cut. It means that 98% of all Americans and 97% of all small businesses won't see their taxes go up a single dime. The Senate has already passed a law like this. Democrats in the House are ready to pass a law like this. And I hope Republicans in the House come on board too. We should not hold the middle class hostage while we debate tax cuts for the wealthy. We should at least do what we agree on, and that's to keep middle class taxes low. And I'll bring everyone in to sign it right away so we can give folks some certainty before the holiday season.
Well. You know what? He's a snake oil salesman. Plain and simple, he's a snake oil salesman. Trying to act like he's looking out for the middle. Obamacare has increased the middle class and everybody else's health care benefits on an average of $2,000 or $3,000 a year. Gas prices, food prices, it goes on and on and on. You know what? Money's money, isn't it? When you get your money, you know what you got to spend it on, what you're burdened by, what your bills are. Maybe you save some money over here, but you got to, spend some money over there. 6 one way, half dozen other, as cliche goes. So he acts like he's looking out for the middle class. It's a joke. It's a joke. He's nothing but a big old burden to the middle class. You want to give another traffic report before we go on this break here?
I can do that. Still have the road closed there at Kenton Station and Stratfordsburg Road in Morning View, so watch for that. The right lane is blocked westbound 275 at Ward's Corner. That traffic, you are bumper to bumper. It's already looking at about a 45-minute delay from US 50 if you're heading in that direction. 74 if you're heading eastbound just at North Bend. You have an accident there. It is reported to be blocking. It doesn't say which lane. Also, Beachmont at Corbley still have that accident. Grand at Westwood Avenue, Hands Pike at Edwin, North Bend at Tanner. So right now, that's some of the accidents that are going on, at least the bigger problems.
All right, here's some Cat Stevens. Here's some Cat Stevens for you. Oh, very young on Class X Radio. A Bulldog Nation member that thought Cat Stevens was a little subdued for my image and reputation. But you know what? I like that song.
I do too.
The Bulldog is upbeat, high octane, but he's also a mushy melodrama guy.
I agree with that person. That song was horrible.
Well, we're going to make up for it because I'm picking a special song, so we'll make up for it. All right, we have somebody joining us on the radio here.
We have a special guest.
Who is this special guest joining us?
This is Lacey Rocks, reporter for the NASCAR.
That cannot be her real name.
Lacey, is that your real name?
Of course it's my real name.
Or your stage name. Or your radio name.
All right.
Why do you love NASCAR?
I grew up with NASCAR. My dad was a pit steward over at Northern Kentucky Speedway. A friend of our family's owned the Speedway. So literally at 2 years old, I was running around a racetrack, dirt track. But
you were on the track.
Was that the weather
it's supposed to be the NASCAR Sports Minute, and it's always, about
like
2 or 3 NASCAR Sports segment.
So what do you think? What do you think? This is an age-old question. It's been going on forever and ever. Is NASCAR a sport or is it not? And what is your position? Because Garrett's and I say no. Now, I put the caveat. I say that I really admire it. I really admire those. I know it's great physical endurance, but so's hiking. And I don't think hiking's a sport. So why is it a sport?
Well, if you go by the pure definition of the word sport, it's an activity involving physical exertion and a skill in which an individual or a team competes against each other or others. So in the pure sense of the definition of the word sport, it is a sport. It's also entertainment, but then every sporting event is entertainment or we wouldn't be watching it.
Well,
because I'm a huge football fan.
But they're
is
not
still, other than,
physically
we can all
doing
drive
anything.
A car, but I don't think we can all drive it at 180 plus mile an hour while trying to navigate.
Man, I do every day coming in here, man.
Hold on, yeah, but I never
Wait
get
a
that
minute.
argument because I could step on the gas pedal and shift a few times and be going 180 miles. It'd scare the hell out of me. Don't get me wrong. I wouldn't be good at it.
Well,
but I
no,
could
there's
do
a-
that. There's nothing.
Garrett couldn't get in a NASCAR car.
Oh, absolutely, I could too.
He couldn't fit through the window. Go ahead, Lacey.
The window? Why wouldn't I just use the door?
Well, and
They
I've been
weld 'em
in
shut.
a NASCAR. I didn't get to drive. I was upset. He wouldn't let me drive, but I got to go around Daytona for a few laps, and it's a lot faster than you think. Although that was my original dream when I was little. I wanted to be the first woman driver in NASCAR, but Janet Guthrie beat me to that, so I couldn't do that anymore. But you know Dr. Jerry Punch, right?
Oh,
Yes.
yeah, ESPN.
And he was a quarterback at North Carolina State. He also got a medical degree, or earned a degree in medicine, I should say, from Wake Forest. Now, he probably puts it better than anybody I can that I've read or that I've seen around. And with a thought process between, say, a driver and an NFL quarterback. And just like the quarterback, a race driver has to process, information at a high rate of speed and make many decisions. And quarterbacks, of course, look at the field and evaluate the defense and what's going to work best against that scheme. A driver's got to understand the track conditions, the feel of his car, what part of this track his car runs best on, avoiding other cars, and while communicating all that to his crew chief. And he uses his hands.
But at the end of the day, aren't they just...
But he's using a machine. He's using a machine.
True. But
that's why I'm the cross-examining lawyer that I am.
But that's where the team comes in. Now, if a football was flat, you couldn't pass it, right? So you have to fill the football with air.
Yeah, but we have the
not
ball
quite the
exception
same.
for definition. By the way, I'm looking at the definition of sport, and I have to give it to you. You're correct. An activity involving physical exertion and skill in which an individual or team competes against another or others for entertainment. But it's still a mechanized car. A ball is not mechanized. The ball only moves through the quarterback's hand, whereas the car has an engine.
It takes skill. I get.
But it takes a lot of skill.
I don't deny that. I just don't say it's a sport.
Because let's put it this way. First of all, a quarterback gets, downs and then he's off.
Hey, by the way,
driver gets no downs off.
Lacey, I don't want you to tell me about a quarterback. I happen to be the all-time Hall of Fame full-contact flag football quarterback in the country. So I know about being a quarterback. And to compare me with all the skills that I needed to be the quarterback of a full-contact flag football team with a NASCAR driver is insulting because I'm out there on the field.
But let me put it this way. If your line screws up and you're a quarterback and your line screws up, you get hit by a linebacker.
I know.
For a little bit.
I get hit by a linebacker.
Your team screws up for you in NASCAR, you're in a wall and could be dead.
Hey, Lacey, I want to shift gears here. What is the state of NASCAR? I mean, NASCAR was riding high, and, the economy from 2008 hit all sports. And I know, like, even NASCAR relative to endorsements and team sponsors and everything. Before I let you go, what is the state of NASCAR today?
Well, that would depend on who you ask.
Well, I'm asking you.
And for me, so I'll give you my personal take on it. And it happened, I think, even before 2008. Well, maybe not. It had started with when Brian France Jr. took over the sport. I call it a sport. Anyway, he made a lot of changes to it.
Activity.
And high-speed activity. He made a lot of changes, like implementing the chase, which a lot of fans do not like.
I don't.
He wants to try and make it like a stick and ball sport, or and I guess those type of sports. You can't. I don't think it should be. I mean, for crying out loud, they run 36 races a year. Now that's 36 weeks, but there's a whole lot more weeks involved to it than that.
All right.
Yeah, it's hit the economy. There's millions of fans, NASCAR fans, and for $100+ pop for a ticket, they're still turning out, not like they were. And the economy, probably has something to do with it, but I also think it's part of the regime of NASCAR itself.
Right.
I think France and Pemberton both. And then when they pull, they're what we call the debris cautions. Where is the debris?
Lacey,
they'll call a caution for a water bottle on the track. You got Danica Patrick who blew oil all over the track, and they don't call a caution.
Lacey,
Lacey, I gotta get to a break.
Those hillbillies will show up for anything.
I gotta say this. I gotta say this about NASCAR. Okay, NASCAR died a little bit when Dale Earnhardt died, and when they started with all the restrictor plates and everything else, instead of letting the boys get out there and run like the good old days and fight in the pits like the good old days.
Amen.
There you go. Thanks, Lacey.
Lacey, we look forward to the NASCAR report.
See, Lacey agrees with me.
Give us a call back anytime,
I proved
Lacey.
I know my NASCAR. All right, now, guys.
Still for
folks, I don't even know the name. Thanks, Lacey. Call back every day, every other week, whatever.
Whatever you want.
I want to tell you
do
this.
a report live.
I want to tell you this right now. Okay, this is important. I watched Anchorman the other night, and my wife made fun of me because I liked all the songs, and she goes, "You like all these 70s sappy songs?" And I said, "I do like them." Now, this song is not sappy. I don't even know the name of it. But Jonathan Edwards, it's called Sunshine, to make your morning bright on Class X Radio. Eric Deters, the Bulldog on Class X Radio. How about Barack Obama in his press conference yesterday when Ed Henry asked him about the loved ones, and the way they feel, that they basically called 911 and help didn't come in Benghazi. He said, "I'll address them directly like I have." Guess what, Mr. President? They don't like you very much, and you've not addressed it. Cracks me up. This secession issue, because I've not spoken about the secession issue, and the only reason why I haven't really is because, it's not going to happen. But there is one issue that is going to maybe create a constitutional crisis in this country, and that's this. There are many states in this country that have a balanced budget, and they're able to deal with their state debt just fine. And then you got states like California, which are bankrupt. And is it fair for federal tax dollars that come from all of our states to bail out one state who's been fiscally irresponsible and not the other states? And just so you know, that's what's driving this movement. And I have to admit, that's a serious problem, a real serious problem. It's not, just because California wants to be irresponsible, too bad for the rest. You got traffic there, Blondie?
I do. You know what? We have an accident blocking the right lane westbound 275. It's been a problem all morning right around Ward's Corner. Some of the traffic is starting to move, but you're still backed up to US 50 there in Milford. It's going to take you about 40 extra minutes. So compared to your normal commute, 74 if you're heading inbound there at North Bend, there's an accident as well, and you are slow from the Harrison-Rybolt exit. So continuing on over to 75, you're going to have some delays if you're getting on right around 275. On towards 75, still have the road closure due to an accident at Kenton Station at Stratfordsburg. I don't know why I have trouble saying that road. Also an accident with injuries, Beachmont Avenue at Corbally, still cleaning that up. And then a new accident on North Bend Road at Tanner. And that is it. The rest of the traffic, you got your slow spots. There's plenty of other little accidents, but some of these are still here from this morning. So a couple of just broken down cars. You got to give that car time to warm up, when it's cold like this.
We're going to have to start restricting you to a certain time period. Like you
oh
got
my
to do
gosh,
your
when I
traffic
talk
report
30
in
seconds?
30 seconds
Yep.
instead of a minute. I mean,
now
I'm going to play
30.
a song. I'm going to play a song before the next break, and then we'll come back to the song. But I got to say something before I play this song, okay? You know what I was thinking? Jill Kelly, the socialite down there in Tampa, they're broke. These emails show houses in foreclosure, lots of debt. They're broke, okay? Living high on the hog. And Paula Broadwell is about ready to go down the tubes as well. How long will it take for all those smut magazines to be throwing down money to them and Vivid Video money? And will Jill Kelly get out of her financial pickle by posing butt naked? Will Paula Broadwell pose butt naked? Because I think Petraeus is making them famous, and now they can bank on it by showing their goods.
We're not hanging their posters.
Do you think it's going to happen?
We're not hanging their posters.
They are not worthy of this room. They are not worthy. This is AC/DC, Who Made Who, on Class X Radio. Class X Radio, there's some AC/DC, Who Made Who. I like that song. You know what? We could play AC/DC all day long. Has anybody ever done? I bet you Bob on nighttime shows probably done that.
Michaels?
I
doubt
Michaels.
it.
You know?
I don't know. He does the garage rock, but
he plays some good albums.
Yeah. Well,
He
album
plays
rock.
the whole album. What's your favorite album of all time?
You know what? The
Do you
first
have
thing
one?
that popped into my head was a Genesis album, and I can't remember the
Really?
name of it. It was black with gold stuff on it. I don't remember.
What's
or
your
an Elvis
favorite?
album.
You know, I haven't thought about a favorite from the standpoint. I mean, I know this. I'd have to choose some of the greatest hits albums. I mean, because they're just great. But the two.
No, that's
the two
cheating.
I know. The two that pop into my head that came out about the same time, if you'd say, okay, an album that's an album, would be AC/DC, Back in Black, and Fleetwood Mac, Rumors. And I can tell you right now, those are two darn good albums. And I bet you they're still selling. I bet you they're still selling today.
What about you, Garrett?
I'd have to go with the one that pops into my mind, By the Way, by the Chili Peppers.
Yeah.
But the Stadium Arcadium Chili Peppers, the double disc, is climbing the ladder.
Saturday Night Live had a band. They're called Fun. And they played a song, and it's a really good song. Did you see that? What song's that
I
called?
haven't seen it, but they're on the radio a lot right now.
What's their big hit? Because they
Some
probably
Nights.
played their big hit.
I think Some Nights.
Some
is the one
nights,
that's playing
probably.
a lot.
But I liked them. Do we have that in here?
Wake up.
There's no way it's in here, but we can get
No,
it.
we can get it.
Well, get their big hit that they played on
Play
Saturday
it
Night
legally.
Live. Find
I'll
out from
find out what they
YouTube
played.
what
It's
they
either-
played, and we'll play that song.
What
now,
is the
Jake,
other
what's
one?
your? We got to ask Jake. What's your album? We already know that Pops over in the corner,
We
Mike
already-
Zimmerman,
Oh, come on.
is Fats Domino greatest album.
What's your favorite
I don't know,
album?
it's
Zim?
tough.
What is it?
Zim, what is it? Let him chime in.
Snoopy.
Beethoven
album.
is a Beethoven song with.
What is
No,
it, Zim?
He's just
I'll
laughing
bet
in
you
the
I know.
corner.
Let me guess. Grateful Dead.
He'll take
All right.
it. He'll take it.
No way. Jake,
What's your favorite group? Zim?
I like Rumors, to be honest.
There we go. Rumors.
We got
All
two
right.
for Rumors.
I think that's a tough one as your favorite. I think it's between
We're gonna
Revolver
force you. We're gonna
and
force you.
Sergeant Pepper.
I know
Well,
Revolver.
that would be a good
Revolver
one.
and Sergeant Pepper are two pretty good ones.
See, I know what Revolver is.
My favorite band and what I want to listen to changes all the time. It's too hard to pick a favorite.
I do like all different kinds, but that was the first thing when you asked me. It's like what popped into my head was the Genesis album. Like I
think
said,
I think Revolver and Sergeant Pepper are two of the best albums.
As a hip hop fan, you got to go with The Chronic, 2001, Dr. Dre.
Well, we're not going to go
Great
with it.
album.
did you guys
Great
ever
album.
go
You'd
to-
love it, dog.
Shake It Records. I'd never been there.
every
I
now
mean,
and then.
It's a record.
I mean,
It's okay.
I know it's an ancient disc. So that's what, but
me
yeah,
re-
it's a cool place.
Let me report a few legal happenings going around the country. James Holmes, the Colorado movie theater shooter, will miss a court appearance today because he's been hospitalized for unknown reasons.
Because he's acting like his psycho in jail.
Bulldog Nation member Lisa sent a text pointing out something pretty good. She said, if a state secedes from the United States, can you get foreign aid from the United States?
They will.
That's a good question.
Food and drug. I've been waiting for this. Food and Drug Administration. 5 Hour Energy is being reviewed. 13 deaths since 2008. 5 Hour Energy was named a 92 adverse event. 33 involved hospital. Let me tell you about 5 Hour event. My nurse, one of my nurses, I asked her to take a look at this thing because a couple years back I was using it. I don't use it anymore. She said that they do not tell you from the directions how much aspartame, is that what it's called?
It's an aspartame now. That's
No, there was something in there that they don't tell you how much is in there. And she said, I'd be concerned about it because they don't tell you how much is in there. And then finally on the national legal news, this is I don't know. Sarah Ann Lewis Boyle has sued her former employer, the Carmelo School District, alleging discrimination and wrongful termination. She told a manager at the school that she would need 15 minutes every day between 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. to pump her breasts, and claims the manager told her to train her breasts not to make milk at that time. You know what? I want to tell you something right now.
Okay, you can.
I see both sides. I see both sides of this.
You can.
You know what? Accommodate the mom, but on the other hand, that's a hell of accommodation you got to make.
Yeah, what do you think about like the breastfeeding in public type stuff?
It needs to be covered up.
I say this. You just got to keep it covered.
You know what? And I breastfed
Each
my kids, so
circumstance is
I
different.
do. I mean, I never ever
Do
just
it in
had
a busy mall though.
But you know,
Did they
you
go
feed
hungry?
them. You feed them where they're hungry, but there is something about covering it up. There's no reason you can't throw a blanket over it.
I
don't want to.
I don't
have
think you
to
would
look at
want
it.
to
I don't
cover
wanna-
it up as a woman. You would want your boob to be covered up.
By the way,
I would
Bulldog
think-
Nation
no, you're
member
right.
Phil says chili peppers suck ass.
Hey, Phil, you're probably a big, huge hillbilly with truck nuts hanging off the back of his car. I guarantee you are, Phil. You're a hillbilly.
No, he's not.
Where are you from, Phil? The West Side, somewhere down in Kentucky?
Hey, Phil, I'll kick his butt for you.
I'd be lucky enough to be from
How many
Henderson.
Phil's
Bulldog?
a good guy. Phil's a badass, too.
How many Bulldog Nation members?
Kick your ass, Phil.
How many Bulldog Nation members? I want you to email us, text Eric. I know, really, I can't talk this morning. How many of you guys have balls hanging off the back of your truck?
Stop that. We're going to a
Say
break.
95%.
Class X Radio. Class X Radio. This is the Bulldog on Class X Radio. I take great resentment. Members of Bulldog Nation do not hang those disgusting things off the back of their pickup trucks.
Well, then Phil's going to have to be out of the B Nation because
Phil does
guarantee.
Not. I want to tell you what a good guy Phil is.
He's
in my
got a
time of
big
need,
old truck.
When I actually showed up in a Corvette. When my time of need, and I need an electrician to take care of my swimming pool, Phil came on a moment's notice.
Oh, he's an electrician.
Yes, he is.
Surprised he did more construction. But I guess it's similar field.
Kathleen Sebelius has been subpoenaed by the Ways and Means Committee, which has demanded she reveal how her agency promotes health care reform. The subpoena demands documents about how taxpayer dollars are being used to promote the law through public relations, advertising, and message testing. How messed up is that? It's like the Department of Health and Human Resources a marketing arm of the United States government? I say no. And this one is going to fire you up. A former sergeant of the Marine Corps who was paralyzed while serving in Afghanistan has filed a lawsuit against officials at O'Hare International Airport after he was allegedly, this is crazy. They refused to assist him. He was left alone to drag his body down the aisle of an airplane after boarding. He tore his catheter bag, spilling urine on himself. He fell from the chair, hit his head, suffered a concussion, and nobody even freaking helped him.
You're kidding.
That's messed up, isn't it? I wish I could have been the guy that got to help sue them for them,
Mm-hmm.
Don't you agree? He should have hired me. I could have gone to Chicago and did it.
I don't know if I'd have helped him.
Oh, you're mean. You don't mean that. Apologize.
I'd have
Apologize
helped
to the
him.
Corps.
If it were Phil, I wouldn't have helped him.
My God. We got
Left
the Phil
you laying there.
We got the Phil thing going.
What's his last name? Fee?
I'm not going to do that. I promise Bulldog Nation members anonymity. We call it anonymity, so I will not do that. I was trying to find, I'm scrolling on my phone here. I'm trying to find a member of Bulldog Nation sent me a text message yesterday about this guy that works for him. Oh, here we go. Let's hope I can find it. All right, listen to this. There's a guy that works with my buddy, okay, at this gun store. He was shot in the chest in Iraq. When he went back to Afghanistan. He was shot in the back. He was thrown from a vehicle 50 feet and broke his back. So the Army made him retire. And he still works every day and doesn't beg or ask for a government check or anything else. And he said, you might want to talk it up on the show. And I said, hell with that. I want him on my show.
Yeah.
So let's review this. Shot in the chest in Iraq, shot in the back in Afghanistan, thrown from a vehicle in Afghanistan and broke his back, forced to retire, comes back here, and still works and carries on.
God
Well,
bless him.
wouldn't he still get a pension or whatever? I mean, you still get some kind of military
better be
plus
getting some
medical
government
benefits,
check.
don't you?
No, I don't know.
We would love to have him in here.
There's two kinds of people in America. People that belong on our walls here of our Hall of Fame of Great Americans and those that don't. We ought to get that guy's picture and put it up here,
we
too.
should.
Yeah. Well, we'd love to have any
Just
of the
so you
military
all,
people.
just so
That'd
you
be
all
awesome.
know, folks, we are decorating our studio, which is looking better and better, with iconic figures in America. Like today, we hung Bruce Lee, John Wayne. By the way, John Wayne's quote on his poster, "Courage is being scared to death, but saddling up anyway." That was a quote that Chuck Holbrook's dad always told him. We got Tombstone movie poster. We got Elvis. But you know what? We could also have everyday great Americans, too, now. Veterans that have been shot and wounded.
Yep.
It's
We
gonna
should
be
have a
great look.
veteran of the week that we bring into the studio and talk about their experiences.
I like that idea. It's a good concept.
Thank you.
You come up with some good stuff every once in a while.
Very.
We have to comment about this. Israel and Syria are firing back and forth, but guess what? Israel nailed the Hamas military commander, Ahmed al-Jabari, and Hamas is now seeking retaliation. They've opened the gates of hell. Well, guess what, Hamas? You already were freaking shooting at them. I like Israel. Israel's tough. You know, that old, you like Full Metal Jacket? That's another movie that we ought. Friday, we're going to feature Tombstone. We got to remind me. Don't let me forget. Friday, we're going to feature Tombstone. Every Friday, we will feature some clips. Now, right now, we're going to play you a clip. This is going to be our daily Saturday Night Live clip. Here is the Saturday Night Live clip for you for today. And we'll do a movie. We'll do Tombstone this Friday. Here you go. Saturday Night Live. Oh, man, that's just too much. Alec Baldwin is so funny. You know,
that is hysterical.
He might be a liberal jackwagon, but I still like his acting.
I think he's been on SNL like one of the more times of anybody.
He's been the most.
Yeah.
He beat Steve Martin out by one.
Martin's
Tomorrow, we're going to have an Adam Sandler. We're going to do one every day
Tombstone
because people love him. We're going to do Tombstone tomorrow too. We're just going to throw those all over the place.
Have you seen their newer? They've been on a couple times this year. The Californians.
No,
it's like it's kind of a knockoff of a soap opera, but they make fun of people from California and how they talk about their roads out there.
Right.
You just hop on the 405 and then jump over on the 10, and you're right there off of Santa Monica. It's funny how they do. You got to see that. But that's pretty good.
The California. All right, folks. This is REM, Losing My Religion on Class X Radio. Sex. Eric Deters, the Bulldog on Class X Radio. Guess what, folks? The economists expected October the jobless claims would be 375,000, which sounds like a lot of jobless claims to me. Well, guess what? 439,000 jobless claims. Now, remember what Barack Obama said to the American people and all those people that got free stuff, getting free stuff? They just, well, we're doing fine here. No, we're not. I want to tell you something. There is a part of me, I'm being totally serious. There's a part of me that wants to see it all just freaking collapse. To just say, we freaking told you so, you dumbasses. Now you got to listen to us because it's the only way. And I just think that's the only way it's going to happen. Everybody just keeps going along about their business every day like there's no problems, no worries in the world. When we're on a highway to economic hell. All right, join us on the phone now is a representative of Bears for the Cure. And what they want, well, I'll just let her tell you. Why don't you tell the ladies and gentlemen of the American jury what Bears for a Cure is all about? Hello?
Hey.
Why don't you go ahead and tell everybody what Bears for a Cure is all about?
Bears for a Cure is for a nonprofit organization which is collecting brand new bears and blankets for children battling cancer. What they're doing is they're taking in new bears and blankets that people are donating to the organization down to Children's Hospital and giving every bear to each child down there and blanket of their choice.
Well, that's a great cause. I saw that commercial with Allstate where they talked about they give out bears to storm victims and whatnot to just make them feel better. Everybody likes it. The little kids like little teddy bears, don't they?
Oh, yes, they do. It puts a smile on their face, and that's a great thing.
You know, one thing that I can say about this is I can't fathom the people that work with these young children at Children's Hospital, the cancer victims. They're all saints.
I agree.
All right. Well, if somebody wants to participate in this, who do they get a hold of and how?
We have a Facebook page. It's bearscure.com.
All right. Bearscure.com. Bearscure.com. All right, we will promote the heck out of it. We'll put it on the newsletter and Facebook and everything else. BearsCure.com. Help get bears and teddy bears and blankets to cancer patients at Children's Hospital, especially during Christmas time.
Yeah.
Good cause.
A lot of those kids out there that need somebody.
Very good cause. You know what? What do you think's going to happen? Do you think? I think, it's like anything. When you don't get answers, it's not going to go away. I mean, Barack Obama, he went out there on a press conference yesterday on this Benghazi thing, and he didn't answer jack when it came to questions. I mean, he didn't answer one question about where he knew and when he knew it and what his White House was doing relative to Rice. I mean, who told Rice to say what? He didn't answer. Answer the direct question. Were you aware, or who in your White House was aware of this attack going on, and who made the call? Panetta said we didn't know enough that was going on, so it sounds like the Department of Defense, the Secretary of Defense knew. That's what he said. I tell you, it's crazy, man. It's not going to go away. It's not going to go away. Tomorrow we got a great show. We're going to obviously do Football Friday. We're going to do our tombstone thing. We'll continue to follow the Libyan congressional hearings that start today. And also we'll see if Petraeus is going to start Friday morning. We're going to make sure that we give Garrett a shot of caffeine tomorrow. So he's fired up a little bit better. So he's fired up.
Maybe we'll bring you some Twinkies.
We're going to restrict Denise's traffic report to 30 seconds. Because
I'm just going to cut her mic.
And on and on.
It's not my fault. It's what's going on out there. What do you want me to do about it?
Give us a traffic report.
Well, you know what? I looked at everything. It looked pretty good, actually. There's an accident. All
right, thanks. That's about how they need to be then, right? About that long? If she can fit it into that gap that you just gave her.
Yep. Perfect. Go ahead, give her a little more time.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay. Still have the road closed at Kenton Station and Stratfordsburg. Still dealing with that. And the accident on 74. Looks like they've said that's cleared, but the delays are left over. That's it. Back to you.
One of the things that cracks me up, Barack Obama acted like, he read the Team of Rivals and he's a big Lincoln fan and everything else. I always wondered, Aaron Brockovich, okay, the people that work for electric power companies and their corporate lawyers, when they go see that movie, who do they root for? Do they root for Aaron Brockovich, or are they rooting for the corporation? And when he watches Abraham Lincoln, this great president with integrity and with greatness, Barack Obama is going to watch that movie, and is he going to say to himself, well, I'm going to be a president like that? Because it always cracks me up that they do things like they read a certain book or they watch a certain movie or they make reference to somebody, and I think to myself, well, guess what? When he quoted Thomas Jefferson, I've heard him quote Thomas Jefferson before, and I'm thinking to myself, man, you are so far afield of what Thomas Jefferson wanted our federal government to be, it isn't even funny. That's just a little observation from the Bulldog. All right, this is the Moody Blues, Ride My Seesaw from the Bill Spry collection on Class X Radio. Love this song. Eric Deters, the Bulldog on Class X Radio. How about a final traffic report?
Really? You want one from me after all the harassment I get? Okay, well, let's take a look here. We have...
Don't push it, Blondie, or I'll take it back.
75 northbound at Ronald Reagan. You got some heavy traffic there. The left lane was blocked due to an accident, so that is causing some problems on 75. So, again, 75 northbound at Ronald Reagan. And then just a little bit further down, let's see, there's just a broken down car, Spring Grove at Winton. How about that?
All right, ladies and gentlemen, the American Jerry, we've had some fun this morning. I've had a few serious rants, and tomorrow we'll have a fun day. But I just want to get in my serious hat here for a minute and outline some things from the Wall Street Journal on Monday's column about the fiscal reality of this country. For example, in 2007, our budget deficit, and this was the last year under good old George Bush, the second last year was $161 billion. And in 2008, it was $459 billion. Okay? Folks, in 2009, we added $1 trillion to that deficit. 2009's deficit, $1.4 trillion. 2010, 1.2. 2011, 1.2. 2012, 1.0. The whole reason why our founding fathers wanted a democratic republic is they didn't trust the people. And they figured if we had intelligent, smart people that were elected from the people, they would not pander to the people, but do the right things. Well, we just had an election ran by President Barack Obama, who decided that he was going to play the rich versus the poor, class warfare, because that was the only way. And he licked his chops when Romney was going to be the nominee. And all summer long, they pounded Romney. Then Romney gave him a sword to running through with the 47% comment. This is from this article. President Obama can now proudly claim the 4 largest deficits in modern history. Tax revenue kept climbing, up 6.4% for the year overall. You hear that, folks? This last year, tax revenue was up, and at $2.45 trillion, it's close to 2007's high, which means despite the economy, we're getting more tax revenue. And get this, individual income tax payments are now up $233 billion over the last 2 years, or 26%. The Wall Street Journal writes, this healthy revenue increase comes despite measly economic growth of between 1% and 2%. Imagine the gusher of revenue the feds could get if government got out of the way and let the economy grow faster. And that's what I was predicting with a Romney victory. Federal spending remains at a new plateau of $3.5 trillion. $1 trillion more spending than 2008. And as I always like to point out, remember 2008? Was there anything that you couldn't do without, since 2008? When Beltway politicians claim they want a balanced approach to reducing the deficit, what they really mean is raising taxes to finance this new higher spending level and the still higher level that is coming with Obamacare. You know what? If Obama got his tax on the rich folks, that's $82 billion. He's got a $1 trillion deficit. They write, so after Obama has humiliated House Republicans and punished the affluent for the sheer joy of it, he would still have a deficit of $1 trillion. Most of our readers know all about this, but we thought you'd like some new evidence to rebut the kids who voted for your taxes to go up when they return home for college for Thanksgiving. Maybe they'll figure it out when they have a job if they can find one. And you know what the problem is, folks? These people are not getting and reaching that 51% that voted for Barack Obama. They don't care. They don't pay attention. Budget deficits? Are you kidding me? And then they had another editorial the same day about the Petraeus probe. And House Majority Leader Eric Cantor confirmed a news report that he was told by a whistleblower in late October about the Petraeus affair. And then rather blow the lid off the darn thing like he should have, he alerted the FBI director, Mueller. Oh, my God. And, of course, Mueller didn't do a damn thing. Now, I'm going to close with this before we get to George Harrison. And this was, this is popular, and I just want you to think about it because it's happening. And this is famous. Everybody has seen this before. This is Alex Tyler on the Athenian democracy. A democracy is always temporary in nature. It simply cannot exist as a permanent form of government. A democracy will continue to exist up until the time that voters discover that they can vote themselves general gifts from the public treasury. American voters have found that out. From that moment on, the majority always votes for the candidates who promise the most benefits from the public treasury, with the result that every democracy will finally collapse over loose fiscal policy, always followed by a dictatorship. Ladies and gentlemen, the American jury, that is the path we are on, and half the country cares, and half the country doesn't give a damn. This is the Bulldog on Class X Radio. Every dog has their day. I hope today and tomorrow is yours, because it sure hell isn't America's.